When the game gets rough and this life just seems so tough, make we talk, my people, make we talk. When this town becomes an ugly place, don't let it erase the smile from your face. Make we talk, people, make we talk. Conversation is the key, a guiding light for you and me. Spark a talk and you will see. Conflict solver A to Z. World leaders master the art of self-defense just by talk. So people, make we talk. Hey, we're living in a world that on ourselves we must depend. Make we talk.
Good afternoon or good evening, wherever listening, watching from around the world in the Eastern Caribbean. This is Make We Talk on this Thursday evening. It's hot all over the place. But this evening it seems, well, today it seems that it was hot today in Savlamar, where the People's National Party councillors went in a tit for tat in the council office, where they forced out the deputy mayor for Savlamar on the People's National Party side. Now I have the video to show to you all. And believe you me, it is a disgrace. It is a disgrace what is going on within the People's National Party camp. I wonder if Jamaica have any other, or Jamaicans have any other party to rely on. Because there's turmoil in the People's National Party camp. They don't want Dayton Campbell to be the general secretary, which he's still general secretary. They don't want him in there. The People's National Party is gaining traction in the polls. And all sorts of bangarang going on in there now. My God. Now today in Savlamar, it was a disgrace to see how the councillors operate. Both sides of the fence, both JLP and PNP. It's the same way they operate in the House of Parliament in this country. And if they are the leaders of this country, what are they showing to the younger set of Jamaicans who are coming up? Aren't we facing a fundamental problem in this country when it comes down to moral values and attitude? We don't have any. There is no values anymore. We have lost the values and attitudes in this country. And the leaders who are supposed to lead and have some morals, values, and attitude, they don't have any. The only thing left for them was to draw a gun inside the Savlamar mayor's office today. That's the only thing for them was to draw their guns and shoot each other. What is really going on? These people do not know how to conduct themselves. I know sometimes when they get heated, you go on the most way. I understand. But they're leaders, they're councillors for the various divisions. The Sheffield division, the Little London division, the Nickel division. And if that's the way they can operate, then they're setting no example for the younger set of Jamaicans who are coming up. There is no example being set. This evening we come on to speak about, it seems that there's a cover-up going on at the Tacius Goal in high school. But we have to speak about what is going on in Westmoreland too, within the People's National Party camp. We are heading down a precipice of no return in this country. We're heading down somewhere where I don't think we have any return of returning, because our leaders has no values, no morals, no attitude. This country is going in a direction that we don't want it to go. But if our leaders continue the way how they're continuing, then may God help us in this country. Now today, a vote of no confidence to force out the deputy mayor for Savlamar, a PNP deputy mayor. What is really going on? A lot of Jamaicans and people overseas are asking the same question. What is going on within the People's National Party? Is it that opposition leader Mark Golding don't have an iron fist on the party? Or should we say, from the late Michael Manley, who depart this earth, the People's National Party went down the drain from then. Some people may say to me, Mr. Tavares, or Jeffrey, you're talking nonsense. But we all have to ask the question, and we all have to sit down and analyze. Do we have an opposition party in this country to oppose and to help the people of this country? Or do we have a party that is in disarray? That's what we must ask ourselves. What is really going on? Or we must believe that the People's National Party just done, the party that the late Michael Manley, the late Kenneth Wickham McNeil, the late James McLean Thompson, and others, the late David Core, and others was helped to build. What is going on? What is really going on? Let me show you all a video. Let me show you all a video. And no words, they didn't take back any. They went on and on and on. And they even cursed some expletive in the video within the municipality of Savlamar. Within the mayoral office of Savlamar, today, Bangarang went on.
Bluetooth connected.
But we all need to stand up for this piece of rock. Here is the video.
To the best of my ability, and I hope and trust that the affairs of this council continues to be managed in a proper and efficient manner. And I want to say thanks to the People's National Party for having afforded me the opportunity.
Now tell me something now. You hear how grown men who's supposed to be leading this country act? You hear how grown men who is supposed to be leading this nation, who the people of this country vote for in a local government election. You hear the operating? You hear how the councillors in Westmoreland operate today? Huh? The people of Western Westmoreland should vote every single one of them out. Both sides of the fence. They're a national disgrace to the children of this country. You hear how they're operating? And those are the people we call leaders. Those are the people who we call political leaders, who are leading this country. And they're acting like some Lego bees. Like the women in Coronation Market act better than them. I ask myself the question time and time again. Where is this country leading? If we have leaders like those, both in the parliament and in the various councils around the country, sit down, shut up your mouth, you're a liar. What is really going on? We have to ask, you know. And by the way, I hear Dayton Campbell gave a press release on the whole thing that's going on in Sablamar. And I want you all to listen to it.
The following is a release from the People's National Party Media Unit.
The People's National Party strongly condemns the motion of no confidence against Deputy Mayor Danry Denancy within the Westmoreland Municipal Corporation, brought by the JLP with the support of the 3 former PNP councillors. The charges of non-performance put forth in the motion are baseless and spurious. The former PNP councillors' support for the JLP motion is a treacherous betrayal of the trust placed in them by the good citizens of Westmoreland. This hastily concocted motion is just the most recent in a series of anti-party and anti-people actions these councillors have taken. And it is evident that they have been colluding with the JLP for some time now. Up to last week, Councillor Delancey enjoyed the confidence of the 3 recently resigned councillors. Further, there has never been even a suggestion of non-performance during Delancey's term as deputy mayor. Our party is resilient, and the strong organizational support in Western Westmoreland will withstand these treacherous acts. We remain committed to bringing the people of Western Westmoreland renewed hope and progress in line with our vision for a better future. The PNP stands united in condemning these trumped up motion and the collusive actions of these 3 resigned councillors with their JLP counterparts. We call on the citizens of Westmoreland to see through this transparent political ploy and recognize it for what it is, a calculated attempt to undermine the integrity and effectiveness of the council. The PNP stands firm in its commitment to the principles of accountability, transparency, and integrity. We believe in the power of the people's voice and their right to choose their representatives freely and fairly. It is deeply disappointing to witness elected officials forsake these principles and engage in actions that undermine the very essence of democracy.
To read the full release, visit our website at pnp.org.jm or check us out.
Mr. Campbell, Dr. Dayton Campbell, PNP General Secretary of the People's National Party. Dr. Campbell, Dr. Dayton Campbell, if you all had listened to the people of Western Westmoreland, this wouldn't be going on. For far too long, these 2 political parties will pick up people from Timbuktu and push onto people for people to vote for them. And the people of Western Westmoreland stand up and say, no way, we're not going to do this. If you all had listened to the people of Western Westmoreland, Dr. Dayton Campbell, this bang around is going on in the People's National Party will be going on. But you all believe that it is bulled up and up a conqueror. And that is why you people continue to let the People's National Party go down the drain. The party that many of us commonly helped to build. The party that the late Michael Manley helped to build. If you all had listened, this wouldn't be going on. But in love traditional dirty laundry in the public too much. If you all had just come together and solved the problem from the beginning, this would have never taken place. But they'll never do it. We're going to wait till they get out of hand. But I switch gear from the People's National Party and speak to what I came on this program to speak about. There's a high school in this country, in Jamaica, up in St. Catherine. The Tacius Golden High School. Something went down wherein a teacher was sexually molested or harassed. And it was brought before the court. And the teacher was arrested. Now, in any school where some sexual misconduct has taken place, don't you believe that the principal would have said, or the school board itself, the school board of the Tacius Golden High School, and by the way, this high school was named after our former Prime Minister's family. Don't you believe that this high school board would have a meeting, and where they see it fit, they take the teacher who they said committed the crime. It's alleged that he committed the crime. It's alleged that he committed the crime. Won't you take him off duty until the court have his way? You have him there same way, teaching same way amongst our nation's students. And the principal of the school look like she's covering up something. And the way how things are going on at that school, it was in a taxi the other day, but the taxi driver said it's not the first time things of this sort happen at that high school. And the principal covered it up. No police was called, nothing. Nobody. Didn't call any police to come in. You see? The principal of the school didn't call in the police. No school board have a meeting pertaining what is going on. And based on what the Gleaner or the Observer is reporting, or the newspaper is reporting, it is before the court. And the court hearing is sometime in October or November. And Madam Principal of the high school that is named after a former Prime Minister's family, because you believe say no retire, you want to put things under hush-hush? I'll make something clear to you tonight. It seems as if your retirement is more important than the children that you're supposed to be leading. I am calling on the Minister of Education to do a formal investigation at the Tacius Golden High School in Old Harbour. The teacher who is alleged to commit the act is still teaching. I get to understand that the female teacher is so afraid that she can't go to school. She fainted in the school compound. And Madam Principal, you did nothing about it. Madam Principal, you did nothing about what is going on. But I'm calling on Minister Favour Williams tonight. You know why? You know what upset me so much? It could have happened to anybody of my family, any member of my family, any female member of my family. This could have happened to. And we have people in our schools who are sexually assaulting our young girls. The same way last night I get to understand that some school have orgy party when they go out on school trips. And who no get pregnant. And nothing is being investigated, is being done about it. No Police don't call in nothing. Nobody don't call in nothing. But yet, we're talking about our nation children that we love them. Madam Principal, Madam VP. Of the Tacius Goal in high school. We're asking you all to lead a proper investigation what is going on up there. Welcome to my good friend Luke George.
Change my location.
It seems
Good evening to you.
good evening.
Make
It
sure
seems
me have
like in Marcus Garvey office.
sure me have Marcus behind me this evening. But it's a good day for the investigation at Tacius Golin. I commend the court in making it the pronouncement that the perpetrator and the victim should not be in the same location.
They should not be, but Luke, it happened at the teacher decided not to go back to school because she went to school and the man was there. She fainted at the school compound.
But you know what, Jeffrey? I really would like to see what comes from. I really would love to see what comes out of why the principal. Is it that the principal is also party to the abuse that is taking place? Because you would imagine that as the senior administrator, and that I really would like to know what the school board did to give this woman any reassurance, because somehow it is the school board having heard the report of impropriety, and the principal who should have also gotten advice from the legal department of the Ministry of Education as to. But the fact of the matter, as a good administrator, I wouldn't want the perpetrator and the victim to be there. It tends to lend itself to too much breakdown in terms of even how it is going to affect the student population. It lends itself to too much chaos. And I would have thought that a good administrator would have wanted to mitigate against that chaos. I mean, just to think that parents are now realizing that the school that they send their children, and if I was a parent, I would be wondering, did he molest my child, and was that child in any way told or coerced in believing that they don't have a right to stand up for themselves? But I would love for the Ministry of Education to come out on this. But Jeffrey, you know, I don't want to rush from that point, but just to say, here on Met We Talk, let us educate our people. So the brawl in the municipality of Salton. But Jeffrey, the Mackenzie and James is really a plot that they laid, because I gathered that these two gentlemen were originally JLP candidates, and that the third wing in it is the man who sits in the Wickham McNeil constituency, who has been an absentee councillor, and in fact the people were having a problem with him, and that the mayor did not realize. The mayor has been sleeping on the job, because he did not realize that although they had sold him on the idea that they are doing this because of democracy, they had come out prior to this to say that they will be going to the JLP, right? They are going to the JLP. So it's not a win for the people of Westmoreland, because they are really doing this for real democracy. This is a win for people who have their hidden agenda.
Let me say something to you, Luke. Now we're going to go back to the topic that we're supposed to be on. Let me say something to you. Is it the People's National Party, the hierarchy of the People's National Party, Mark Jefferson Golding, had listened to the people of Westmoreland from the beginning, the shebang will be going on, you know.
Hold on. And again, Jeffrey, I'm saying that it is not, hold on. Because you see, we have to investigate what we hear. Mark Golding's hand is tied by the PNP Constitution, and I'm trying to put my hands on it. Because you see, if we're going to educate, we have to educate from a position of knowing. Because I'm saying, if it is that these councillors had brought an interest for the removal of the MP, and they went to the GenSec and the GenSec, the Constitution then gives them the opportunity to hear this dispute and to have this dispute brought. It seems as if these gentlemen have been going around and saying that if it's my way or no way, but we have not heard, because here's what is also true, Jeffrey. Will the people who elected them and put them in office because they run on the PNP ticket, will they be supporting them as independent candidates? And that is yet to be seen. So now that they have successfully now removed the second...
Let me say something to you. I am from Westmoreland, you see? I'm from Western Westmoreland. And what I'm gathering on the ground in Western Westmoreland, the people of Western Westmoreland is upset with the People's National Party from the beginning. That is why they did not vote back in Wickham McNeil. They are upset with the People's National Party. So that's why I'm saying to you, what Mark Golding should have done is go down there in Western Westmoreland for 2 days after the election and try to get back the people on the People's National Party side. They did not do that. And that is why I'm
hoping that any member of the People's National Party on your platform hear the words of Jeffrey Tavares. Mark, it's not too late. Go and talk to your people. Don't ignore them, because in the name of democracy, this is what these people are claiming. But to me, it's self-serving. It is self-serving when you listen to it, Jeffrey, because when you turn back the municipality to the Jamaica Labour Party, will it better serve the people of Western Westmoreland? And to me, I put the people above the parties. If you're doing this because you feel that you would be better served as an independent, let us see the support. But what does this mean? What does this mean now that you have taken over the municipality? And was it legal the way you went about it? But that is all I need to say. That I'm not gonna. I hope people don't get excited when them see people say them standing up. If you're not standing up for the right purpose, then I'm not in support of what you're doing.
But before we switch gear, Luke, I'm back on our topic. If the deputy prime minister is illegal in the Constitution, isn't the deputy mayor illegal too?
No, the municipality has a different structure. As I said, I spent the day trying to get information. You know what I find though? Imagine you call down Salvamar and you ask them, can I get a copy of the constitution that the council operates under, and certain the statutes that the council operate under, so you can best advise to see what is happening. Because the way it looking on brethren is like the man has said, this is not constitutional, you know. What you do, I put me out and I saw it going on because there was no vote. There was no standing vote, and you listen to it and you say,
yes, and I told you that.
But nobody listen because you hear man and tell man go, and it just look like a big
person some expletive inside there too.
And then me here said the Minister of Local Government go down there like him hear news, because it is going to be one more municipality for the Jamaica Labour Party. But look here. That is why the delay in the election. PNP will not be the real people. The supporters of the People's National Party are not going to be derailed by this foolishness, because people are looking at it and say, could it be that as PNP get a liquor? Look here, it's starting up because the man them where do this, you know, don't really love the people of Westmoreland, you know.
No. You know.
And I hear that Marlon Wilson and George Wright is down there with them.
You mean Marlon Wilson and George Wright?
Yeah, George Wright, when them seen a video beat woman, when them did kick him out of the JLP and treat him like the ugly cousin, him a walk behind the PNP that marker to say to him, said, no brother, no woman beater now walk with me. All of a sudden he's taken back into the fold and he's welcomed into the fold. And Marlon Wilson was supposed to be given a proper strapping for his promise of water and road. Yeah, him down there. Everybody glad now. That's why I tell you, say Chicken Mary out there near. It is orchestrated. It's clearly orchestrated. The people of Jamaica suffers again. And I do not know what is promised to those now who are saying that, oh, they went to they are standing up in the name of the Jamaican people. No, this is self-interest. Self-interest being served. Self-interest being served. So I sit on the Garvey tonight. Self-interest being served.
Let us go back to the topic that we're on. I hope the people of Western Westmoreland who have had enough of what is going on within the People's National Party camp.
I don't usually read the comments when I'm on your show, but it was somebody who said to me the other night, look, George, before you make any pronouncement, go research it. And it sort of nagged me because I'm really not off here with the politics of or the inner running of the PNP. But then when you look at it, you're wondering if you're not go independent, you have to ban who you go and vote with. So they have now seven people who are there.
The background noise you have there.
Oh yeah, the noise. Miss. Hold on. That door. But
we're speaking to Luke George, community activist and human rights activist in the zone. We're speaking about the People's National Party. But we're going to switch gear back to the topic that we're on about the Tacius Golden High School, where it seems that the principal of the school is covering up something. Madam Principal, it's what you're covering up. What you're trying to hide from the people of Jamaica. Pertaining to the teacher who is, let's say, sexually assaulted the next teacher. What are you covering up, Madam Principal? Why you can't call the school board to have a meeting with the teacher who sexually assaulted the other teacher? Why you can't have a meeting? Huh? What is going on? Look, George, if you was the principal of the school, what would you have? What would you have done?
Again, Mr. here, Sir Jeffrey Tavares, I am surprised that the principal did not seek the legal advice from the ministry, but I am almost positive in saying she has a guide as to when a dispute arises. And it is in that guide that she should have now called the school board chairman to convene a meeting to say what was reported and how far it has gone. And the board should have been able to write to the gentleman and CC to the permanent secretary of the ministry and the legal section of the Ministry of Education to say, the gentleman, if not, both parties should go on suspended leave pending the outcome of the court matter.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a little bit surprised that we're still asking the principal what she's hiding. Certainly, the investigation that should be carried out by the police should be able to identify whether or not the principal is also, by virtue of her delay in how she responded to this, especially because the implication is that from words on the street, and this is a matter of people's opinion, this is not something that has not happened. And my question is, as the officer in charge of the institution, I would want to think that if such an allegation is laid against an institution that I was heading up, that I would recommend on block that he be put on suspended leave, and then also to call a meeting with my the grade coordinators, because you know what I fear, Jeffrey? I fear that children might have been victim of the same sexual assault.
And the principal will cover it up.
But if that is true, here is an opportunity for all the victims of this situation, that the teacher took a courageous step. They now must go and report the offense, because she needs all the support, if this is at all true, to give her case a strong case and to give the victim. And then if it becomes a wider investigation, then it must be able now to look at all the players. What did other people know? Who might have known? Victim might have reported it to other guidance counselor. So it's a matter of guidance counselor, grade coordinator, class teachers. And interestingly, I would not be surprised if students don't know. And I'm sure that there are some students at Tacius Golden who would have no problem in giving their account of what has been happening there. But again, it also opens for us the opportunity for the ministry now to open an offense register, and in connection with the CDA and the children advocate, to invite people to report cases of abuse and to have the manpower to do proper investigation, because we have to be careful how we censor that. We make this topic become sensational without having to put down some level of understanding how and what gets investigated. Because in this society where people are vindictive, I would hate for a student to just get up and to use this platform and damage the platform for justice to be served, to just say, I don't like this teacher, so I'm going to say that he or she assaulted me sexually or was improper in their advances towards me, because that too I am mindful of. But certainly it is a good day for us to clean slate and to have this a register set up for people who wants to report any impropriety that they might have experienced being in a learning institution.
But you know something? The Minister of Education
Mm-hmm.
is presiding over a situation where a man came in from the United States, from Washington, D.C.,
Mm-hmm.
and sexually assaulted some of the young people, the young girls in government care. And you hear nothing, it don't like Canada Pong, don't like Sammy Mouth. And now this is going on at Tacius Golden High School.
There's
and
two.
a WhatsApp was sent to the minister. The minister have responded to the WhatsApp all now.
There is two. Okay, there are three schools of thought. There's too much bureaucracy in how. There's too much bureaucracy in how we get to justice, because today I was asking, because I know that you had asked me to come back, and so I was saying to somebody, when this incident happened, if it is reported to the minister, now she has to go through the permanent secretary. The permanent secretary has to go to the legal advisor of the ministry. Then the legal advisor might have to put it to the office of the attorney general. Or they, and I hear that they may have to get the DPP involved in there, because there's the way always is treated. Once a report is taken, you have to now consult these bodies. These bodies will have to advise the minister before she can speak, because fearful of the fact that she may say something that implicates the ministry, and therefore if a civil case is brought against the school and the minister is out there saying something that might not be befitting based on advice that she would have gotten from the legal department, then you could attach to it that the minister said it, and hence the minister. So I think she's muzzled, And so we have to understand that they have set up roadblocks, Jeffrey, which is called bureaucracy. But notwithstanding, not to answer a text message to say, okay, I am aware of it, I am seeking advice,
Right.
because in my capacity as minister, I
XQYZ.
cannot make a public statement until
Right.
I've been given. And we have to understand that these are the process that people have to work with. And as a woman too, to say that the time for sexual predators and sexual violence amongst women, yeah, you can say that. That's showing. But I guess she's on the side of caution that says, boy, every man is innocent till proved guilty. But I'm also wondering if you are right in that, because of the level of corruption and cover-up that has taken place at Tacius Golden and other institutions of government, that it don't get rise to the surface until it comes to you, a Wayne Loam song, that because people probably would have taken a little payoff, people would have been promised something and that thing has been delivered. So, it not kill you, so it has not really harmed you. So you don't have to feel bad about it, because it's sad. It's sad, really on the surface. And I'm hoping that the teacher has the resources to acquire Jeffrey Tavares. This is where I'd love to support her. I'd love to see if we can make sure that we get the best legal team. If what she's saying is indeed the truth, that she has the best legal representation to take this matter to the courts of Jamaica and get the justice for her and every
It's 9 o'clock.
victim of sexual offense in the court. Because anyhow she goes with a weak lawyer who might not have standing in the court, who might not have the experience in this matter. You can know, say, if this is a predator, you can afford one of the brand name people them will make for them money for criminals and setting criminals free. That's all them do. Them have high price for cases up to $1 million to speak to them in, and outrageous $500,000 for retainer. Then she might lose, even although she's the victim, if we are not willing to support her this way. And this is why I'm hoping that, the Ratigan Fund established could help people like this, because imagine on a teacher's salary, and I don't know what her one husband do, and in addition to the fact that them have children that they have to be carrying those expenses, that this is going to be a financial burden. And so sometimes you take the lower hanging lawyer because you can't afford the higher ones that have, as I said, standing in the court and can really bring this home, and possibly can also compel the school board to carry out other investigation in strengthening her case.
But look, what I don't understand though, and for the love of God, I'm trying to figure it out myself. If this is what I get to understand, that the principal said to the teacher, "You sure you want to go so far with it? You sure you want to report it?"
Well, Jeffrey, why are you surprised? Why are you surprised?
I have to be surprised, Luke.
No, but why are you surprised? As I said, I would love for the investigation to show that she was, in fact, a co-conspirator. I would love, because obviously, if that is what you would say to a victim, it tells me then that you are in some way aware of this action taking place in the institution, and that you have really been in collusion with it.
My God. Then Luke, if we have our students in surrounding like those,
but that's what I said to you. And I'm wondering how much of it the guidance counselor might have been aware of. Is there anybody else at the school? Because the word on the street.
I get to understand that there is someone else at the school,
That's
And
what
he
I'm
did the same
saying.
thing too.
So I would love to see a proper investigation being conducted by the police, having because you can conduct you as the police. Your job is to gather any evidence. So if this teacher has identified another party and the police now says, "I'd like for you to come in for questioning," remember you're free to say whether or not you want to give a statement, or you might just opt to say, "I don't know," or students. And this is why I'm saying that an independent group from the victim support should have been identified to go in and to say, we will be there, give a number where you can call us, that if you don't feel comfortable talking in that environment. Because if this in fact what the principal said, and it is purported that this is what she said, you're sure you want to go to the police with that shows that you are
Okay,
complicit.
that you're aware of something
Yes, you are
before.
complicit. It does show a level of degree of guilt that you may be partisan to a sexual assault ring taking place underneath your watch. Because I would want to think that somebody who now understand that a staff member brings to me a situation that is untenable, that I would believe it. I would believe it. He maybe me that even give him $2 and they are charged for something like assault or beyond. But for you to say, you sure something this you want to go report, that's cool. That's
For,
downright cool.
for a female to say that one and a
I mean, I
female.
care what sex you are now. Because here's what me fear now, Jeffrey. Can she be saying to students who have come to say, "Miss, sir, touch me up"? You sure you want to tell your parents that? No, I just want me there. Because it tells me in your state of mind, you support perpetrators and you are insensitive to the suffering of victims. But I can't pronounce that on her. That's what is being said. I'm hearing, but Jeffrey made a love to say. I would love to watch this, but I'm delighted that after we spoke about it at length last night, when I read the news paper to see that, yes, go to court and judge said, you're not for dead. You're not for dead.
But the judge here mustn't be there. But the principal did not call a board meeting at the present time. I don't know if she did after, but she didn't call up board meeting and say, okay, we need a board meeting with the both parties or one party or something.
No, but look, if you are tell people say, you're sure you want to do this, I'm sure the board is probably learning about this, which tells me that whoever takes the minister did not take the board chair. I don't know who is the chair of the school, but I can guarantee you that the board chair is as surprised as we are, and at them now for move decisively to put the principal on administrative leave and to carry out a full investigation of the matter. Unless them want the eggshell part for them face. Because if it is that, them can say the chair is aware of it, and there is nothing to show that he or she took and the board took an action to have this matter resolved in an amicable way by asking for the removal of the perpetrator, then Jeffrey, it is my foregone conclusion. They all victimized this teacher and anybody else who is going to come forward in this matter. And they should all be sent to a one block and possibly, if can be, criminally
Fire
charged.
them!
It's not, you say firing is the easy part. I would like them to all be in a deposition that says they were all aware of what was taking place. And as a result of their action, they are equally as guilty, although they did not carry out the act. And me would have liked to find out from the woman who is our lawyer. And if this person really have standing, because it is the standing in the courts, which for me may be able to deliver her the decision that she's looking forward after this happened to her.
And Luke, I sit down here and I'm saying to myself, what is really going on in the education system where our young girls and our teachers are concerned, our female teachers. You don't expect us to give us, you don't expect you to give the teacher's name? JMH. Don't be ridiculous. I will never get the teacher's name on here. And even if I know it, I wouldn't do it.
Let's move on, because that I don't want nobody to. The teacher's name we should have been. They did see the newspaper give it in the publication.
There you
None of
go.
the teacher's name were put in the publication. So, but you can go and read any publication. You can even Google it. But you ask the question, what is happening in our education system? At different level of our education system, there is abuse taking place. At different level of education system, sexual assault is one of the several. So we can list them. There is that of physical assault against students by teachers. There was a student at KT who used to be the teacher send out. So the teacher would send him out in the community to go and buy lunch. He would fetch teacher things for the teacher. And the one time he confronted a teacher about not being cleared in the instruction that the teacher was given. The teacher boxed and kicked him to the ground, and he was taken to the principal office, where he wrote in his statement to say that the principal and vice principal, who were praying Christians, said to him, you may bring the matter to the police, but you may destroy your career and your further education in the end. I have a copy. You may bring the matter to the police. You may even get some money, but it may destroy your future education, because people hearing that you brought a teacher before the court might not want to have much to do with you. And I know that I was part of the team that brought it to the child registry. I still have his written statement in my possession. I still can pull it and send it to you to prove boxed, kicked, and beaten.
And nothing came out of it.
And nothing came out of it. I don't know what the office of the advocate for children do when they have you come and give a long statement and so forth. There's a lot to be desired about our education system. You have students who, like the student who provoked the teacher at Pembroke Hall, and it was actually deliberately provocation, where we hear she say, "You think me your mama," and was using the vernacular to tell the student, "You think me your mama where you can run this joke with," and people actually taking shots at the teachers, not realizing that we do have students in Jamaica who go to
Have
school
no behavior,
who challenge teacher. On the other flip side of it, you saw the thing coming out of Tivoli Garden High School and Jeffrey to prove that point. Have you seen some of the videos that come out on TikTok when our student them at Jamaica were Brethren, that is some scary scenes, like it's coming out of Freddy Krueger and Jason. So, but our children are at war, and I don't think we in Jamaica, with the intelligence of having at least, now we can say we have at least 50 universities, which psychology is one of the major subjects that is taught in these universities, going into school and understanding school violence, and looking at it in terms of how the social impact now on the individual that when they go to school. So when you see a set of 3 boys in Denham Town beating up on a disabled student who they know have a learning disability, who they have targeted, who they have marred and now physically assaulted, and then you hear somebody say two of the boys were sons of noted gunmen who were killed, who obviously probably they can't read and write because the system just pushed them through matriculation, because we have a quota system and we just push them out. But have we intervened? Do we understand what is at the heart of the violence and the lack of self-respect for other people that we're seeing among the student population in Jamaica? Have the ministry, but when running to it commission, you know, where gunmen come from, where most of the gunmen come from, I wish high school level, but most of them were coming out of JC, but the study just stopped this up. What would be the way of trying to get these to a proper intervention for students?
Look at this. You're saying that, you know, our students are going through some stuff and so forth. But when you look and what takes place, and it burned me, it hurt me. It hurt me. But look at what takes place at the Tacius School in high school. The female teacher fainted. Going back to it. She fainted on the ground. And Madam Principal, you know she fainted. And until now, the school board don't have a meeting. What are you covering up? What are you covering up, Madam Principal? Madam VP, what about are you covering up? Because you don't know how to retire, you don't want to save on retirement. Let me make, I warned you last night, Madam Principal. With all due respect to you, I'm going to warn you again. Make sure you get the police involved in other activity that goes on in that school. Because if you do not do it, I will do it. Madam Principal of the Tacius Golden High School, you're covering up some things because you're out to retire. I am warning you. Make sure you get the police involved in what is going on. Because if you do not do it, I will do it.
And the truth of the matter to Jeffrey, I would have imagined that the children advocate and the CD and the sexual offense department of the police should have been in the school already, carrying out investigation and telling the students and staff as to what is available in terms of reporting, support, and any other support that is needed. Because as I said, as this story unfolds, there is a lot that is going to be for us to desire. And what should come out of this, that we must be called to respond to the plight of children. And therefore, it starts here at Tacius Golden, but we also have to be mindful that even on the program last night, an 18-year-old student who, yes, is at the age of consent, because in Jamaica, you said a 16-year-old can consent to sexual. And then, you know, Jeffrey, we talk about women and girls. And again, we marginalize that boys in our schools are also facing the same sort of sexual harassment. From older women who feel that they have sexual prowess, who impress upon them that they should satisfy their sexual need, from men who have deviant behavior and want to be satisfied in this regard. And it is a cry now for us to not just come and react to this, but really to push for a national offense registry being opened under the Ministry of under the Ministry of Justice.
You mean the Ministry of Injustice?
We must have a team of competent lawyers who are to examine and it must compile of the children registry, the advocate, civil society, of reports of sexual violence and abuse, that, and it also must take into account children in our children home. And that is why I believe that the the young ladies who lost their life in the home, and the woman who was there as the superintendent became the commissioner of the correctional service. There is something about that case, the Annandale case, that is unsettling in my mind. And you know what I said to the legal fraternity in Jamaica? Shame on you. Somebody in the legal fraternity should have been able to look at that and say,
Something stink.
Something not right. And as an independent citizen of Jamaica, we have some provision under the Constitution to take on these matters, to take on state agency. And Rattigan just should say to you, as a citizen of Jamaica, be it that you're living in Jamaica or you're living in the United States, you should be able to take on state-run agency.
You know something, Luke? I think the Jamaican people are afraid, and many of them don't know that you can sue your government.
There are people who know, but Jeffrey, imagine you know, but you don't have the money, and you take on this monster called government, because you have seen how unjust it is when it comes to the Jamaican people. And again, this is why I'm saying that the time for this fund to be established to help both Jamaicans here and overseas to take
I think that fund, you know, we need to get some more clarity on it from Wilfred Radigan. I'm going to have him come on one of these days and tell us how that fund is going to really work. Is it that the fund is going to work to help Jamaicans in the sense of who have a legal problem with the state? Or is just for the diaspora to put a lawsuit against the government? We don't know. I need to get some more clarity on it from Wilfred Radigan.
Andrea, the Constitution, Marlene, the Minister of Constitution Reform and whatever other responsibility she can't tell a Jamaican national born in Jamaica that they're a foreigner. There were people serving in our parliament who swore allegiance to a foreigner
dual citizenship
and had dual citizenship, and it is
a former prime minister has until they resign.
They have accommodated it. In the new constitution, the diaspora must push for those who are supporting, because again, and I hate when we feel so powerless. Imagine that the diaspora, if you look at the bulk of what the diaspora has contributed to Jamaica over the years, it far outweighs what most of these people have brought to their constituency and to their political life. Unblock. If you cannot recognize me as a Jamaican because I continue to maintain a tangible working relationship with not only my family, but to support government in its deliverable to the people of Jamaica, then you have bought into the idea, because that you are a foreigner and that this lady has a right to determine that the Constitution can be written to say any person born of Jamaican descent can, just as we have what is called citizenship by descent, can and be recognized to vote, to hold public office. There's nothing stopping us from putting that into the Constitution. But you have to lobby. You have to lobby for it. We have to lobby for it.
You know, I think
because even when you get the American citizenship, Jeffrey, don't it say, once it say you're a citizen, them still list your birthplace as Jamaica and your nationality. Okay.
Because they can revoke it from you. The same way the Jamaican government can take away the Jamaican passport from you at any time they feel like. A lot of Jamaicans don't know that.
Brother.
A lot of Jamaicans don't know that the passport that they hold is the property of the Jamaican government, not the property of the national government, you know.
That me and telling
It is
her
the
just
property of the Jamaican government. Is that the
if
property of
that
any other government?
exactly.
So they're not supposed to take it from you at all. So when you go overseas and people say they're taking a passport from you, not supposed to do it. It is illegal. It's the property of the Jamaican government. We're going to part with the talk about stations when we're going for a passport.
But today I was listening out for what was happening at the passport office, man. And two things come to my mind. We can't hear the names of the people who are being investigated by the Integrity Commission. And if it was Luke George Cook, my name would have been at the front of the paper.
My name.
Yeah, me need for know who them people, them 6 ministers there.
We're gonna find out who, you know. Don't worry yourself.
No, we are dig for information. And we do have access to information. So I don't even see why it's concealed. I don't know if the strength of the case is not strong enough for it to be said. But going back to your topic, Mr. Tavares, we have a responsibility as Jamaican, and I think we should sign a petition to the principal, and by extension, the principal, the principal of Tacius and the administrative staff, to include the board, to say that we would like a full investigation of the allegation regarding the teacher and whoever else may have been affected by it. We're asking for a truthful investigation to be carried out with state-run agency and independent bodies, and that a memorandum of understanding must be crafted to reflect that this investigation falls within the statute, same as how we form commissions of inquiry, that it falls within those commissions of inquiry, and hence criminally people can be charged if they are found to be complicit in their reporting as mandatory officer and have demonstrated that they have not protected the teaching staff as well as the children placed in their care, because we can't say that there's no young lady within the classroom would have escaped this pariah, this brother. And if I am making pronouncement on the man, that may not be true, because in the end he may have the lawyers, or he may say that I have gone and said something against him without getting his side of the story, then I ask for forgiveness by God Almighty. But it is rumored widely that this man is a predator, right? And so, as I said last night, I stand by what the old time people say: if it no go so, it go near so.
Near go so.
Yeah.
So, but what the question that I really want to ask the Madam Principal, Madam Principal of the Station School in high school, nobody have ever come to you about that teacher? It's because the female teacher got.
But do you think you'd get an honest answer?
Oh no.
If you could say that to somebody who reached out to you as the senior officer responsible for the operation and overseeing to the care of both staff, children, and all other stakeholders, would turn to you and say, do you think your complaint would be better served when you go out there to advertise it? And this has happened. Look here, remember in the case of a minister who was helping these poor children, who then turn around to sexually assault them, that a prominent school principal was seen in public trying to prevent the camera from getting picture of her long-standing friends. It is not uncommon in Jamaica for people's right to be tread upon. And it goes under the carpet because, one, people don't feel that they are empowered enough to take on the power of the state or state-run institution. They also feel that they do not have the necessary security. And thirdly, they feel that their situation sometimes is best served by a higher source because they are afraid of the retribution. Because you see, one of the things too that I'm concerned for this teacher as well, and I'm hoping that she'll get the help that she needs as she goes through this. How will she be treated if she was to ask to be transferred to another school in which maybe not sexual impropriety, but just dishonesty among administration is practiced? And then to watch that and to say, no, you're coming in. Are you going to be embraced? Do we see the JTA embracing and saying that we, the JTA, have gone out and have done our own sort of facts finding? And it's deeply concerned because even at the Jamaica Teachers Association, teachers don't feel that they're being represented. In other words, we just make up boards after board, entity after entity, and there's a lot of taxation without any proper representation. Because following the ruling today, the JTA has a responsibility to its member to go and to advise them of whatever the course of action, and to also seek to give both the perpetrator and the victim in this whatever support is available through that means.
Look, I
Sad
hope.
sad though. It's sad
It's
though.
very sad.
Yeah, man, it's sad.
It's very sad.
But it's a
It's sad.
reflection. It's a reflection of a country that is in moral, ethical, and transparency and accountability decay. It's reflective of that. Big man have the money, so him have the talk. This should not go unnoticed.
When I heard about it and when I read in the paper, it reminds me of a question I asked former Minister Bobby Montague. He was then Minister of Transportation. And I asked him the question, his former Minister of National Security. I asked him, I said to him, when people are deported from overseas back to Jamaica, do they come down with a docket stating what they're charged for and who they are? He said, yes. I didn't ask him this question though. Then I asked the question, if a person who was charged in the United States and Canada or England for molesting children and they're deported back to Jamaica, is there a register where they can sign so that this person is a predator? Those are the things that we need to know.
Yeah, man. Through the CDA and through the Office of the Children Advocate, there is a register for persons with certainly deviant behavior who you can have that, and a case number be granted depending on it. But look, a lot of times it goes against the grain of what the Jamaican people understand to be their right. And therefore, the public education has to go up. Because I remember once getting a call from a lady who was seeking help for a woman in St. Mary, who an older man had sex with her 13-year-old. He raped her 13-year-old daughter and was sent to prison for the period of 2.5 years. He got a 4-year sentence, but they said if he had good behavior, he would serve that 2.5 years. And after his release, he was released back to the community. And just as how you are describing the teacher fainting, they said that the mother said every time the child had see the man, she breaks out into a panic attack.
Mm-hmm.
And the mother The mother went to the police station near to their community, and a policewoman asked her, "So your daughter now, what's it not get? What she get already?" And the man go serve him time. What we fi do? What we fi do? So even seeking advice from it, because I gather that during the time that it was alleged that this man had violated this young lady, the police would have advised, once the court so order, that the victim was not to be seen in the area.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing was said to the mother in preparing her for what happens after this victim serves his time.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, the community itself also turned on her because she was seeking to get redress in terms of how do I further protect my child from having to relive the episode of this horrible nightmare. And as I said to her, look, the system sometimes don't have anything further than what happens after the court to assist you. My advice, just move. Just move from the area.
So
Because
hold on there, Luke.
if the
Do you have
police,
any idea? Do you have any idea the system has in place to track those who are deported back to Jamaica who are sexual predators? Do they have a system to track those people?
okay, so let me answer you. When the person comes in, they are processed by a specific unit of the police force, and those offenses are usually put in the information collected. Now, I'll tell you something based on a situation that I experienced recently. There was a young lady who was trying to find out when her uncle was deported from the United States back to Jamaica, as they're in a quarrel over a legal matter concerning the rightful ownership of a house. She was told that the information gathered on persons deported back to Jamaica were on, so it was put in electronic data, only to find out that the time that the uncle would have come back, they did not have that sort of system set up, and the records that they used to keep were kept manually. And those manual records, as the police was explaining to her, are difficult to find because he did blatantly say to her, sometimes it is not handled with the greatest of care, and we may not be able to source that information. To answer you definitively, if the information would be shared with the children advocate as well as the children, the CDA, the Children Development Agency, I'm not sure. Great question. Because it means that it would be able to assist us if the person in fact lived in the particular location that they would give as the returning address. And not only that, Jeffrey, so often these people move from parish to parish. So we need to also understand location, but then there is something to say, are we infringing too much on this person, right? So I would have to look back on the statutes, on the laws,
So based on all what you're saying to me now, Luke John,
those records may not be.
it is coming up in my head that it is a possibility that the transport authority may give sexual predators road license to run taxi, and
Could
we
and
may
there's
have a bunch of people come back in the country who are gunmen. So
but
all kind of dark in this country, then, man.
but I don't want to defeat my whole purpose of saying that if a man goes to prison for a particular charge, And in the process, he reforms his behaviors that I would want to hold him guilty. But it is
No,
interesting. It is interesting that, and therefore, it is interesting that we're having this discussion. But in terms of deviant behaviors, that in the investigation, we must be able to use the investigative report to say whether this person have the likely to have a relapse, or through the reform structure, we think that they have reform behavior. That is something to be looked at, and then for that person to be red flagged. I wouldn't want the person to be discriminated because we have this information. But if there are reports of impropriety, then we need to do further investigation. And hence, I am saying that it would be good for us to look at the time of deportation and how those records were kept, how many of it are on there, and how much of it is shared between the relevant agencies that have jurisdiction over the well-being and the welfare of children. But notwithstanding, I don't know how our investigators do their sort of investigation when they put up things, if they put it up on the board and they look at possible persons living in the area. And do we have the surveillance to track people once they come back into the island? No. And it brings me to the point that also why this becomes so pervasive, because members of state-run agency also participate in it. I remember a case of a young lady being sexually assaulted by her stepfather when she was a high school student at one of our notable high school. And the police investigator also became a sexual partner of her as a result of she going to report the matter and him becoming very caring and compassion that he was having. He became her sexual partner to the point that it was almost difficult now to try to see who is worse in this, the man who comes and is offering a shoulder, literally befriend the Pitney and started to abuse her, and was quite threatening, using his power of him being a police on his office as a senior officer over the period when the mother discovered that she found herself in a quagmire. And you know, it's sad. It is sad that at every level, members of parliament, community activists, that we tend to give in.
Look, you're a man, I'm a man. What can we as individuals now say to this teacher at the Tacius Golden High School and to our various young ladies around the country and women around the country who were sexually assaulted?
As I said, look, as Mr. Jeffrey, we have to, one, I would love to see what sensitization happens in terms of how, as men, we respond when we are aware that primarily perpetrators of sexual violence are males, perpetrators of domestic violence are males, and the majority of people who bear that brunt is usually our girls and women. But no, we have to look at it as our boys. There was a case, Jeffrey, of a 5-year-old that was sexually assaulted by a 14-year-old, and I remember hearing the little boy father say, "Him can't be my son again, you know, because him damaged." And I just thought to myself, why don't we get rid of this male ego in this frigging country? How does a 5-year-old become the victim again by his own father by saying, "Him can't be my son again, can't damage"? And we can't just imagine that this little boy is going to go through life here. The first thing anybody in his community is going to say is that, "Move, can remember when you're a pitty man, are you a sexual, yeah, and you're a batty man." And kill him, then they might go have to walk with that shame, because we are a very insensitive set of people when it comes to how we differentiate right from wrong. But I would love for the males to have a real conversation about what it is to be a man, because so often we are questioned at this time. And, you know, I would just like to say to her husband, stand
Luke,
beside her. Stand, you hear me?
we're Luke. Go ahead.
Hello? Stand beside
Yeah,
her.
go ahead. I'm hearing you.
Yes, stand beside her, and don't succumb to the pressure where people are saying, if it was my wife, when me that go do, don't make nobody push you into that direction. And then she has two trouble. And I don't know if Anand did say two trouble better than one. But don't let them push you into that. But I would love to see a support group form around that couple if they have opened themselves up to that sort of help that their immediate friends and family can. And if they're a part of a church community, that, you know, the ongoing counseling and standing with them. I would also love to see, again, as I said, more than that, if through this audience and through your audience, that we can support her in terms of her legal and possibly counseling costs if it is not being offered to her. That counseling is being offered to her, but I know she's going to have to carry a legal cost. And here's what is true. I wanted to look back to see when was the next day that they have to appear in court, because I'm wondering if these 2 or 3 appearances were just appearances to say that the court would have just heard it, but a trial date have not been set, and that a trial date would have been set. So those are some things that we'd have to look at. But support, having a discussion with Jamaican men in a real way, and to say, how is it that we again can become a sort of collective security for surety, the village caring not only for the child but for every person in that village. And on that note, Jeffrey, I have to just answer a few more questions, because I
Yes.
have to move to a
Yes.
pressing situation
Understand. Yes.
that is pressing.
Luke, Luke, one more thing I want you to comment on. If there is not a legal, if you don't have the legal you know, how should I put it? If you don't have the legal help, how can you and I, in the sense of trying to help her?
Well,
I don't believe that teacher have the legal help at all.
One is I will have to find a way to identify and extract and find out if she wants help. And then for us to come and make an appeal, for her to look at who it is that could best represent her in this matter. And you see, Jamaican lawyers, for them school fee alone is expensive, and them live some very lavish lifestyle. And me can tell you that in and of itself, Jeffrey, can kill you if you can't afford, because retainer loan, and I've been trying to get from the Bar Association and the legal counsel what it is that is a standard cost for retainer depending on the matter, and what should it cost for putting the case together and making representation. Because a young man that I know was picked up by the police, and he's now charged for a murder that he can show that he was not even in the location, and he went to a notable lawyer downtown that the retainer was $1 million, and he's struggling. $1 million, and he is struggling. He has been in lockup now for 3 months without bail. And so that should give you a picture of what Jamaicans are facing. But again, as I said,
on that note, Luke, I thank you very much for coming on. Thank you, my friend. I know you have to run. Thank you so much for coming on. That's our good friend Luke George Cook. I'm gonna see if I can ask someone to get in contact with the teacher of the Tacius Golden High School for me. I'm gonna talk to my producer of this program at Roots FM to get in contact with the teacher of the school to see if we can help her with some legal funds. Because we don't want them to cook up the case and sweep it under the carpet. I warned Madam Principal already. I ain't gonna warn her again. I am not disrespecting you, Madam Principal. I grew up in a very nice home, so I don't respect people who are put in higher positions. But what I'm saying to you, Madam Principal, you know what is going on. Come clean. It could be you. It could be a member of your family, Madam Principal. Come clean. My viewers, thank you all for coming on. My God, my God. Jamaica, 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 Jamaica. I love my country, but my God. And people may say that we're tearing down the country. We're not tearing down the country, you know. We're trying to let the country survive. That's what we're trying to do. My fellow Jamaicans, you all have a good night. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the Make We Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. Until you hear my voice again, may God bless you. And may God bless Jamaica land we love. For all those cares have been our concern. The work goes on, the cause endure, the hope still lives, and the dream for a better Jamaica shall never die. Have a good night, everyone.
Do you need graphic design services? Or maybe you need branding for your business? How about multimedia production services? Contact Browns Media and Graphics at 876-877-1870. Browns Media and Graphics, developing your ideas, creating your style.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
When the game gets rough and this life just seems so tough, make we talk, my people, make we talk. When this town becomes an ugly place, don't let it erase the smile from your face. Make we talk, people, make we talk. Conversation is the key, a guiding light for you and me. Spark a talk and you will see, conflict solver A to Z. World leaders master the art of self-defense just by talk. So people, make we talk. Hey, we're living in a world that on ourselves we must depend. Make we talk.